Not long ago, in the vibrant world of social media, there lived a popular influencer named Sarah. Sarah was a bright and bubbly personality who had amassed millions of followers on her various platforms. Her life seemed like a fairy tale to many, filled with glamorous photos, exciting adventures, and seemingly endless opportunities. I had the privilege of being Sarah's close friend since our school days. We shared everything from secrets to dreams, and even as her fame grew, she remained the same down to earth Sarah I had always known. But as the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility, and Sarah's fame was about to lead her down a path she never could have imagined. It all began innocently enough. Sarah had always been open and engaging with her followers, responding to their messages and comments, making them feel valued and heard. She genuinely cared about her fans and appreciated the support they gave her. Among her countless followers, there was one person who stood out, a username she recognized as Mystery Observer. Mystery Observer had been following Sarah since her early days on social media. He left comments on every post praising her beauty and talent. At first, it seemed like harmless admiration, just another fan caught up in the allure of Sarah's life. But as time passed, his comments began to take on a darker tone. He started sending messages that were deeply personal and unsettling. He would describe in explicit detail how he had been following her every move, from the coffee shop she frequented to the color of her bedroom walls. Sarah was initially disturbed but chose to ignore it, thinking it was just a random troll seeking attention. However, Mystery Observer's obsession with Sarah only intensified. He began to send her gifts, flowers, chocolates, and even expensive jewelry. Each package was accompanied by a note professing his undying love for her. Sarah's unease grew with every delivery, but she didn't want to let it affect her life or career. One day, she received a package that would forever change the course of her life. It was a beautifully wrapped box, and when she opened it, she found a framed photograph of herself sleeping in her own bed. Panic coursed through her veins as she realized that someone had invaded the most private sanctuary of her life. Sarah immediately contacted the police and showed them the photograph along with all the messages and gifts she had received from Mystery Observer. They assured her they would do everything in their power to trace the stalker and bring him to justice. But for Sarah, it was just the beginning of a living nightmare. Mystery Observer's messages became increasingly threatening. He vowed to make Sarah his no matter what it took. He threatened to harm her loved ones and destroy her reputation if she didn't comply with his demands. Sarah's world spiraled into a state of constant fear and anxiety. I watched helplessly as my friend, who had always been so full of life, became a shadow of her former self. She withdrew from social media, her once bright eyes now filled with fear. She constantly looked over her shoulder, convinced that Mystery Observer was lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Sarah's online presence dwindled, but the stalker was relentless. He began sending chilling letters to her home address, describing in gruesome detail what he wanted to do to her. Sarah couldn't sleep, eat, or even leave her house without feeling like she was being watched. Her mental and emotional well-being crumbled under the weight of this relentless torment. Desperate to help my friend, I started digging into Mystery Observer's online presence. I wanted to find any clue that could lead us to his real identity. It was a daunting task, but I was determined to do whatever it took to protect Sarah. I discovered that he had a history of creating anonymous accounts on various social media platforms, all dedicated to stalking and harassing different women. As I gathered information, I shared my findings with the police, who were doing their best to trace him, but Mystery Observer was skilled at covering his tracks, using VPNs and other techniques to conceal his identity. It seemed like an impossible task to unmask him. One evening, as Sarah and I were discussing the latest developments, we heard a loud crash from the kitchen. We rushed to investigate, fearing the worst. To our horror, We found the back door hanging open, a chilling breeze blowing through the house. Sarah's fears had come true. The stalker had found a way inside her home. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the invasion of her privacy had reached a terrifying new level. We called the police once more, and they arrived quickly, searching the house for any signs of the intruder. They found no one, but the damage was done. Mystery Observer had left a message scrawled in red ink on Sarah's bedroom wall. You can't hide from me. The police intensified their efforts, but the stalker remained elusive. Sarah was living in constant fear, unable to escape the nightmare that had consumed her life. In the darkest hours of our struggle, I received a message from an anonymous source claiming to have information about Mystery Observer. The message contained a file with what appeared to be an encrypted document. I shared it with the police, who managed to decode it, revealing a list of locations Mystery Observer had frequented. With this new lead, the police launched a series of stakeouts, hoping to catch the stalker in the act. It was a tense and nerve wracking time, but Sarah and I held on to the hope that this nightmare would soon come to an end. One fateful night, as the police were monitoring one of the locations on the list, they spotted a man who matched the description of Mystery Observer. They followed him discreetly, and to their shock, they witnessed him attempting to break into Sarah's house once again. A dramatic chase ensued, and after a tense standoff, the police apprehended Mystery Observer. They unmasked him to reveal a man in his late 30s, his face twisted with obsession and malice. He was arrested and charged with stalking, harassment, and breaking and entering. The relief that washed over Sarah was palpable. She finally felt a glimmer of hope that she could regain control of her life. But the scars from this traumatic ordeal ran deep, and Sarah would never be the same person she once was. In the end, this harrowing journey served as a stark reminder that even in the digital age, darkness can lurk behind the screen.